Hi, my name is Robbin Miller, host of Miller Chat. This is a July 2021 Zoom version. I hope to be back in the studio sometime in the fall. And today I'm going to be interviewing a few authors for summer reading from July and August. Has anybody here started their reading? Well, I won a $25 prize for my adult reading. So I'm very happy about that. I can only get my son to start, which he will. So today, today's guests it's going to be Laura Lee, her brother David Lee, and her father, and then Fern Nissim and her illustrator Susan Fleishman. Did I say that right? So I just want to make sure I said everybody's name. Okay. So I have my timer on. So everybody has about 5 minutes, including myself, which I'll do at the end. And if we have time, we'll just do a wrap up. Okay. Everybody understand that? Okay. So Laura, would you like to go first?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to start with you. So just tell us about your book, why you published it, and maybe read a few snippets in the 5 minutes that you're allowed. So go ahead.
Okay. So first off, it's an honor to be here. I'm really glad that I'm part of the show. So hi, everybody. So I'm Laura. I've written a fantasy middle grade action adventure series, and I'll be reading from this book. This is my first book. We redesigned the cover recently. The rest of my books are here. The covers aren't the new versions, but this is the second and third book. So I wrote Two Worlds because I wanted to inspire other children to write. I published this when I was 10, and I wanted to be an inspiration for especially female children of color, and I wanted to help them, encourage them to get their writing onto the page and expand their creativity. So I'll be reading an excerpt. Yeah, so I'll be reading an excerpt from the first chapter of my book, and David is going to help do some voices for one of my characters. Okay, so this is from chapter 1. Lily woke up on a slab of cold, hard stone and groaned. She opened her eyes and, wait a second, this was definitely not her school. Blinding white walls surrounded her. Lily was alone. Hello, she called. Hello, a high-pitched voice answered. A hidden door opened to reveal a small child, no more than 5 years old. She had an adorable face with short auburn hair curling around the sides of her head. Follow me, she said. Lily got up and followed the girl out of the room. The girl led Lily down a long hallway to a stone door. In here, she said. The child rippled into a group of rapidly vanishing pixels. A hologram? Lily blinked in confusion. Hello? Her voice echoed down the empty corridor. Perplexed, she pushed open the stone door. She entered a cavernous room with colossal windows. The one piece of furniture inside was a small table with a variety of weapons, swords, blasters, and buttons covering it. Lily reached out to touch a pink button. A voice behind her said, "Careful." Lily turned and spotted the tall, cloaked figure of a man. He made no attempt to move.
I wouldn't touch those buttons if I were you. They're smart bombs activated by touch. You would go boom,
he explained. Lily winced. Who are you? She asked.
I am Jake,
he said.
You must be Lily.
Lily snapped back to her senses. Where am I? She demanded. Are you aliens? Yeah, whatever. That was a stupid question. Jake sniffed indignantly.
I am not an alien,
he said.
We are part of a planet similar to Earth, and we don't have any differences to humans except for our pointed ears. So if you wouldn't terribly mind, call us elves.
He sounded like a college professor, just without the English accent. Technically, elves are still aliens, but Lily decided not to mention that. Jake smiled.
Our kind is, for things likely, the most intelligent version of humans. But if you please, I do not wish to be called an alien ever again.
He said the word alien as though it were a slimy rat, wrinkling his nose in disgust. the expression rose on Jake's face. For a while, Lily stared at Jake. The elf, what else could she call him, finally seemed to notice that Lily was looking at him like he was a madman. Embarrassed, he cleared his throat and shifted his facial features to a friendly smile.
Let's start a tour.
He said,
All right, we got less than a minute.
"That's it."
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Wow, that was
We can,
awesome.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. And David, you sound really great. Is that going to be your second career besides engineering? Voiceover?
Oh, well, I'm a little interested. I actually did speech and debate in high school, so I was glad to have the opportunity to exercise some of the skills I learned there. And I'm interested primarily in neuroscience at the moment, so and writing as well. Perhaps acting would be a side calling.
All right. Okay, and you can get this book on Amazon, Laura?
Yes. Wait, sorry.
You can get this book on Amazon.com?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right, all right. So are we ready for David?
Certainly.
Thank you, Laura. Great job.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I've been here on the show a few times previously. I'm David Lee. I've been writing since the age of 7, and right now I'm 17 and on my way to Boston University. So my very first book is Danny and the Portal of the World, which I wrote when I was 7. This was the result of quite a bit of reading. I was heavily inspired by Roald Dahl when I was a kid. And certainly this was sort of my attempt to match sort of the whimsical language and eccentric characters. I read so many Roald Dahl books. My favorite is the BFG. And after that, I wrote some other books in the series, which I completed several years ago. The second book I wrote was Danny and the Trip to Outer Space. And then I wrote a trilogy of dinosaur-related books because throughout my elementary and middle school years, dinosaurs were my favorite thing to ever exist. Danny and the Invasion of the Dinosaurs, followed by Danny and the Revenge of the Dinosaurs, and finally Danny and the Wrath of the Dinosaurs. Most recently, I've been working on some projects, including a supernatural thriller, which I've actually spent the past few years working on. It's a much larger project than anything I've attempted before. And recently, however, I did revise a compilation of my last 3 books into a larger novel, Dino Saga. It's the latest book I have right now, and all of the books I have mentioned are on Amazon. And I'd say the motivation behind my writing is sort of as an outlet for inspiration. I'd like to use writing as an outlet for my creative juices. And I also really like to, I really love it for one of my science fiction books to be the spark to help get someone interested to do further research in perhaps a career in STEM, or even just foster like a general willingness to continue to like search up the facts and definitely be more interested in such scientific disciplines as I have been. And I really feel that fiction is one of the things that gets people really interested in pursuing a field. Books like The Martian really helped me foster my love for entering the STEM field. And certainly I hope that my writing inspires children to pursue the creativity and also pursue careers in STEM as well. So for all of you today, I have a pretty short excerpt from my second book, Danny and the Trip to Outer Space. Laura will be present, providing the voice of Danny, as my vocal cords are too thick for me to actually do a young English boy act. Chapter 3. Grandpa Garth was riding with relatives in a giant airliner to England. It was a huge airplane that they kept for special occasions. Woohoo! They shouted. At the moment, Danny and his family were coming from the other direction to meet Grandpa Garth and his relatives in Massachusetts. As the 2 airplanes got into closer proximity, Danny and Grandpa Garth could see each other's faces. Danny wondered how to transfer his relatives onto his plane.
"I've got an idea,"
thought Danny as he pulled out his cell phone.
"I can call them and ask them to board my plane."
So he called Grandpa Garth.
"Hello, Grandpa Garth. I would like to introduce my new plane, the one we are riding now. Would you like to board the plane? I can teleport you and the other relatives,"
said Danny. Grandpa Garth answered, "You've got a new plane. Awesome. I'll tell the other relatives all about this idea." Grandpa Garth ended the phone call, but just as he was about to tell the other relatives about Danny's idea, some blue lights rapidly encircled them, and there was a big zoom. Almost simultaneously, all the relatives dropped from a big blue tunnel that disintegrated quickly once they dropped from it. In less than 2 minutes, Grandpa Garf and all 15,486 of his relatives had been teleported to Danny's aircraft. Danny spoke.
Hi, Grandpa Goth. How are you doing?
Grandpa Garf replied, "Hello, Danny Miller, my favorite grandson." Everybody began to have a feast. They ate chicken, potatoes, and drank orange juice. And again, the food came fresh from Danny's food machine. After a nice fat meal, everybody started to take a nap. By accident, they left their aircraft's engine aloft. They were sleeping peacefully for a couple hours when Danny woke up and noticed that the aircraft was heading towards outer space. He checked his GPS and unfortunately it said, "We cannot locate you on the global positioning system. However, we believe you have crossed the atmosphere and ended up into outer space."
Got a few seconds.
Yeah, we are heading towards outer space.
Danny screamed.
All right. You guys are awesome. All
Thanks.
together. Very good job. Very good job. And you can get that on Amazon.com too.
Amazon.com.
All right. Well, thank you. And I believe your father's next.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi,
Hi,
Robin.
David.
Hi,
Hi.
Fern. Hi, Sue. How are you?
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi.
All
Hi.
right. So,
Long time no see. Yeah.
yep, so you got 5 minutes. So let's see what you have. What are you presenting today?
Okay. 2 years ago, I published this book. It's my first book. It's a picture book. So you can see there are different animals in there. And this book, I spent a lot of time actually. Like 15 years ago, I start taking these pictures. So they have penguins and a lot of different animals, dogs, cats. And the special feature of this book is they have a bubble. There is speaking bubble in here or there, or sometimes they have two together. So that
Sam, hold
the
it up
parent-
higher. Sam, hold them
Yeah.
up higher. We can't see the pictures. There you go.
Ah, there we
Okay.
go.
All right. So can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this book actually has 60 very cute animal pictures with frank speech bubbles, and we will have the readers to spark their imaginations. It also supports communications and social skills development. And also it will have beginner readers to learn about the animals. And another special feature of this book is if you look at the bottom row, it has different languages. So it translates the animal names into English, Chinese, Spanish, Japanese, German, and French.
Great.
So it can be a good like icebreaker game activities for the group, and also teach young kids learn about animals.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's available on Amazon too.
wow. So that it's something that interests you.
Yeah.
Do you have another one coming out?
Excuse me?
Are you gonna have another one come out in the future on something similar to that?
Yes, I'm going to publish the second book, which is the similar one, but with different animals.
With different animals?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So it's gonna be more animals. You're adding more animals.
Yeah, more animals. This one could be focused on the baby animals. It's even more adorable. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
Right.
kids need to develop and mature, so it's really
Yeah.
good when they're young
Right.
to know all that. That's fantastic. And so this is just something you like to do?
Yeah.
Besides your job?
Yeah. It's
All
my new
right.
hobby. Yeah.
Your new hobby?
Yeah.
And Laura does all the cartoons for you?
Yeah. Actually, we do actually publish another book. Is a coloring book, and this
Oh.
time, like last year, we published another book. It's different from this series, but it's a coloring book with animals on it. And Laura is actually the illustrator. She actually draw the animal, draw the outline, and also help me design the book content, book cover. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it is a very interesting one, but we don't have one today, but it's available on Amazon too. Yeah.
How long did it take you to do that, to make the illustrations? Is that like a whole day to convert a book?
For each picture, it will take Laura about 2 hours. to do
wow.
one picture. Yeah, yeah. The whole book is about like 40, 50 pictures, so it take a while.
I can see.
It does take a while, yeah. But it
Wow.
has a lot of fun. Yeah, when you do it, you see like an artwork, and it's a family activity. So I like it. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. Okay, so why don't you just lift up your books again and
Yeah.
just tell us where people can buy it?
They can get it from Amazon.com. Just search for the so many lovely animals. They should be able to see it,
Okay,
find it. Yeah.
all right. All right, well, thank you very much, Sam, and thank you to Laura and David for coming on to talk about their books. They did a fantastic job.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, for summer reading.
Have a
Well,
good
thank
day.
you. Bye-bye. All right. In transition, we are now going to turn to Fern Nissim and Susan Fleishman to talk about her books.
Oh, hi. Yes, Robin, thank you so much for inviting us. We love to be on local Shrewsbury cable and love to share our story. Sue and I have been illustrating books for a couple of years now. The inspiration for our first book is a little ant. I don't know if you can see my little ant. Sue actually created the ant. He actually created the little character in clay. It was inspired by my dad. He wrote a story for my children, my grandchildren, which are now his grandchildren, in 1977. And it took me a long time to actually create the book and do something with it for many, many years. The first one is called Antoline's Brave Adventure. And it's the story of a little ant seeking his freedom, her freedom, I should say, and wanting to find a better life for herself. And it's really a story of any family coming to America from wherever they are. It really fits in with all the stories of family immigrations and so forth. And the other one is called Antoline's True Discovery. What happened basically is Antoline finally got to where she wants to be, and all of a sudden decided it wasn't enough. She wanted to learn more about herself. And Sue and I worked together on all of the illustrations. I did the background, and Sue taught. You want to tell about how you did the actual character itself?
Fern and I started talking about her, and I started doing some sketches of Antoline, some person. She has hairs, which can go up and down based on feeling, and she looks up. She's interacting with the other characters to give her and the world some personality. And the story in the first, her looking for a place that she could feel like she could be her. The second book talks about wanting to discover more could fit in and to connect better with the group, fit in. And a third book in which takes the story and talks about we can connect by being sensitive, being very simple, which is the skill. And we are working on now 8 more little characters to long because everybody tell,
Can you
and
hear?
it's by we can learn more about each other.
Yes. So basically, it's a play on words. Antoline goes to the ancestry to learn more about herself, and she actually comes across some friends. Her friend Jubilant, and a little guy called Taller Ant. And Taller Ant really represents tolerance between children. We really had a lot of fun with this. And when we started off on this path, we didn't realize that we were really hitting the nose on the head here, or however you want to say it, regarding what's going on in the world today. And that it was really important for kids, more than anything, to be be inclusive and to connect with others. We are actually going to be at Tatnick Booksellers August 14th, if anyone wants to come over and say hello to us. And I can read you a couple little pages right here that really talk more about what it is that Antoline is looking for.
Well, you got about a minute, so you can.
Okay. Also, I wanted to mention that we're part of this great group now, which is Read Local, Central Mass local writers. And here you go. Her days were filled with friends and fun. So why, you may wonder, if Angeline has found her place in the sun, does she sometimes sit and ponder? She told her friend Jubal Aunt, I'm curious about my family and I wish to inquire. Learning more about my history is all I desire. If I know who they are, it might help me to explore all the things that I can be and even more. And as she goes through this, she starts learning about everything. But at the very end, she realizes that it's not just about yourself. And she says, someday I might be a debutante, a queen to be, or perhaps a pilot, a teacher, an inventor. That's me. Maybe I'll explore science and art with my new friends here. I'll make a fresh start. But for now, I know what I want to do. I just decided, and it's all quite new. I'll create a place where all can hear. Everyone has a story to share. We will gather to listen and learn from each other. The family tales we will tell one another. Our ancestry will fill with information to celebrate each background with an inspiration. And she goes on to actually create a group where people can, where all her little friends can sit in a circle and tell each other about each other's history. And what Sue and I would like to do at this point in our third book is actually create a how-to. How do you do that? How do you get your little friends together and all the little things you should be doing to create a group that really is inclusive, where friends can just talk about each other? And that's really where it all starts. You know, if kids can talk about each other and their backgrounds and be accepting of each other, then we really feel that we have accomplished a lot there. So the books are available on Amazon. One of them is on sale right now. Anteline's Adventure is on sale right now. And that's it. I hope that you'll come and see us at Tatnick Booksellers on August 14th. That's in Westboro.
Wow. Well, I have my book here called The Stray, The Runaway. This is part 2 right here. I have the screen behind me. I finally figured out how to do a Zoom screen from a picture. But this is about the second book. The first book was about, it was called The Stray. It was about adopting our dog, Woody, who's sleeping right here. And we wanted to just tell the story in the first book about how we went and found him and how another dog fell through and how he brought pleasure in our life. And then we wanted to write the second one that talked about what happened the next day, which is called The Runaway. So I'm just briefly going to read a snippet of it because I don't want to give away the whole story. Okay, so the first one, it says bolted. And it says, previously Woody, a 40-pound retriever mix, gets left behind from his former dog owners and adopted by a new family. It is Monday, hot and humid, like today. And my son gets ready for his first day of camp. He gulps down his strawberry yogurt drink, slurp. Woody drinks his liquid and dry mixed dog food from his bowl on the floor. He gathers his swimwear, my son, and gets ready for camp by filling his backpack. I put Woody in his green and black soft crate in the living room. As we walk out the door, down the stairs to the front door, we hear scratching noises. Woody was trying to get out of his crate. Mom yells, Woody, stop scratching. Woody walks outside and Mom puts her key into the door to lock it when suddenly, bam, Woody jumps out of his crate and bolts down the stairs past Mom and EJ into the street. EJ yells, come back, Woody, come back. Woody runs into the neighborhood's backyard where Mom and EJ try to corner him to catch him. He runs right past him into the woods. EJ whimpers and says, what did I do for Woody to run away? It's all my fault, he says as tears run down his face. Mom replies, you did nothing wrong. It's not your fault. Woody is just confused on where he belongs. So we go back in the house and we call the dog officer. That's all I'm going to say.
That's great. That just happened to me. I just got a new puppy and she did the same thing. So we can certainly relate.
Yeah, well, we wanted to highlight the fear when people buy rescue pets from a shelter, dogs, cats, or even a rabbit. They don't know where they are. They're confused. And then they bolt out. And the owners really didn't do anything wrong. And I'm talking about your everyday normal owners. I'm not talking about the extremes here. And it's very scary for a family or an individuals to have to find their pet, not knowing where it is. Even though Woody had a chip. I didn't have it on my phone. Now you can have it where you can buy it for the dog. You put the thing on their collar and you can trace where they're going. But we just wanted to highlight the fact that it happens a lot to a lot of people. There's no cure for it. And it's just something you have to just be aware of when you buy a pet. The possibility of them running away is very scary and real. And then we talk about how we go about finding them or trying to find them, and I'll just leave it as that. So I know a lot of dog owners like to read dog books, and kids do. So we wanted to just do that as part of the Woody series. So we have a few minutes left to go. So why don't we just go around, we're about a couple of minutes, and go around and say, why should children be interested in your book? Who wants to go first? Why should they read it for summer reading? David?
I really think that in terms of my books, they provide fun and entertaining sort of escapes from reality. I think this was especially important during the pandemic when everyone was at home. And I feel like the ability to like look into a quick short read, maybe like Danny and the Trip to Outer Space, and be able to escape into a wonderfully realized science fiction world is sort of the reason why I write. I want to provide those experiences. And I really hope that for someone watching, they decide to put some of my stories into their summer reading playlist. They will certainly not regret it.
All right, thank you. Laura?
Similar to David, I think children might like to read my book because I think it might help spark their creativity and inspire them to write their own stories. And I also think it might inspire, especially like I said, for girls, because my main character in all my books is female. So I think it would be encouraging for them to realize, like, help inspire courage in themselves as girls. Yeah.
Oh, girls definitely need that these days.
Mhm.
Did your father want to say anything? David?
Hey.
Sam? Excuse me.
Yeah, my book is a picture book. It's mainly for preschoolers and children who start to speak. So if they start to pick up some words about animals and you want to explain to them and try to make the learning fun, then you will be interested in the book that can have bubbles, have speaking bubbles. So I think my book will be interesting, and I don't see any book like that out there.
I agree. Yes,
Yep.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Fern and Susan.
Right. Yeah, our books are basically conversation starters. The first one basically is to try to inspire families to read together the story of Angeline's brave adventure, and then maybe start a conversation. And this has happened, and I've heard this, where kids start to ask about their own family history. Where did grandma and grandpa come from? As a matter of fact, it happened at a library I was doing a reading at, and a young man said, "My grandpa and grandma, they got off the plane, didn't they?" And the mother said, "No, no, no. They had to cross many mountains and go through much challenges to come to America." So it's a great conversation starter. The second one really is meant to start conversations about tolerance, connectivity, acceptance, and those kinds of things that we're all very much is on our minds these days. And again, it's for ages 4 to 9. So of course, the younger children, parents would read to them. The older kids could read it by themselves. I don't know if you want to add something to that, Sue.
Fun little story and the messages are about family and about self and community. And I know that an activity at Tatnick's there, a youngster and her mom talked about what she was learning about, and she learning more. And that's basically we want to inspire to learn more about their family.
Ah, very good, very good. Well, we're about out of time, so I wanted to thank all the authors today, Fern and her illustrator Susan, and then David and Sam and Laura for coming on today. You have a great day and have a great summer. Bye-bye.